How is this going to help you if you are this MBTI type? At least maybe some of the things that I'm going to share is either going to validate the things that you already have in your wardrobe, whether it's your image goal, or probably it's something that you can further refine, as I'm going to be also critiquing some of the stereotypical MBTI type, particularly for today's video, the INFJ. Who are the celebrities, the influencers who are typed to be INFJs? What do I actually think of their style? Okay, so INFJs, the sage, the advocate. This is a very special one because initially I was very confused with the dressing sense because I thought that they are actually the ones who are extremely dark, gothic, romantic, which I also thought that it was my style. Not to say that it's not entirely close. There are INFJs that I know in my life that are also in some way has a bit of that edgy dark side to them. But after really understanding INFJ traits in terms of their cognitive functions, the way they are, and getting to know more and more INFJs, they're quite rare, which is why it's hard to just fixate on one particular look. But for some reason, after all of the research and through my own experience trying to decode what exactly is the style of the INFJ, it just came quite clear to me that INFJs are a lot more optimistic. They have this softness to them. Even the male INFJs, there's a side to them that is rather soft and alluring. It's not dark and edgy. You will see this in INFPs, but not really INFJs. They have this light at the end of the tunnel. Okay, sorry, I'm not saying that INFPs or the other types who tend to appear a bit more edgy, like ENTPs, INTJ, it doesn't mean that you have no light in you. But what I'm trying to say is the dressing style, it's a bit more optimistic. Actually, the word that I want to use is commercial. It's a bit more acceptable. It's accepted by society. It's not something that is going to be very provocative. And it does relate to their cognitive functions or their personality trait. So now, one comparison that I have done in the past is that INFJs, INFPs, they are quite closely linked because it's going on in the forums anyways. People are saying that a lot of INFJs or INFPs are actually mistyped. Maybe the INFJ who thinks that they're INFJ, they're actually an INFP, and then the other way around, it happened too. But for me, I think it's pretty clear in terms of their dressing sense. I could see a distinct difference in terms of INFJs just appears like the sister who have gone through their crazy phase in life, and then they are like, okay, you know what? I'm like 100 years old right now. I need to tone it down. I'm like the matured version, and it's going to be reflected in my dressing style where it's a little bit more classy, soft, not so in people's face where they like, it's all about my individuality. Whereas INFPs, they can steer towards the other way, not as soft, a little bit more whimsical, a little bit more playful. This is at least from my own experience, so it can be subjective. But ultimately, they are close resemblance. Now, what do I think of the stereotypical INFJ style? Okay, I'm gonna reference from C.S. Joseph. I have a couple of INFJ to talk about. However, all in all, I think INFJs are very pleasant to look at. Their sense of style is there. Okay, for the women, obviously, they exude this femininity. It seduces you, but not like in a provocative way. It's not, what's that word? It's not out there. It's still, you can't really see it until you see it. If that makes sense. Think like the female figure to all the younger women or INFJs who are like lost and broken and they are finding their way back into like, I want to go back into my feminine divinity. That to me, it's a very classic, stereotypical INFJ. Okay, I'm only talking about the women, of course, but then the men, I have met very rare. This is extremely rare. I think I only know like one or two INFJs. I've not really validated it, but very high potential that these people are INFJs. For the men, obviously, their emotional side, the way they are into harmony, their relationship with other people is very prominent. In terms of the dressing wise, I have seen it fluctuate a little bit. But the thing is, it's always been quite steady in terms of looking a bit more conforming to society. Like, they won't dress in anything that is too individualistic, that is like calling for attention or asking people to start a discussion about them. They're not really about, oh, you know what, this is what makes me look unique. It's not really about that. So let's look at some of the pictures, shall we? Okay, so the first on my list, I'm gonna go with the men INFJs first. It's actually David Beckham. Just a disclaimer, if you've watched my other videos, if I've ever included David Beckham as another type, if I'm not mistaken, I did use him as ISFJ, if I'm not mistaken. Now, this list that I'm following is actually from C.S. Joseph. He has typed many famous people, and I was surprised to see David Beckham on this list. Initially, I did suspect that he was an INFJ because he's impeccably dressed. Like his sense of style and his attention to detail. Like I watched the show on Netflix where he was with Victoria Beckham. Don't really remember the exact show name, but I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. I do see a lot of these INFJ traits that he exude. His extroverted sensing, SE, is in his inferior function, in which I think this is something that he already went into his state of flow where he has conquered his insecurities, he's going through his introverted feeling and going with the way on how extroverted sensing is to him, his physicality and his the sensation and experience that he give other people. Therefore, he has this reputable image that makes him look like one of the most stylish guys out there or in the world. And then being married to Victoria Beckham just further amplifies that. Because of his great physique, he can basically wear many things. But the thing is, there is a signature or a consistent look to it. This kind of like sweater, cardigan, knit look, where it makes him look a little bit softer, a little bit more warm, welcoming, approachable, that kind of vibe, which is very much the extroverted feeling that is in their cognitive function, which is about making people feel good, the harmony of people, nothing that is too provocative. And then when it comes to trends or just, I think just overall like not standing too much in the crowd, it's still blending in, but then having his own sense of style that is accepted by many people and even influence many people to dress the way he does. So what do I essentially think about INFJ men? I think they are quite stylish. Sometimes can be a little bit boring because they wear what other people are wearing a little bit. But those who are a little bit more daring, of course, their style is out there. I love the fact that they try to dress in a way that it doesn't make other people uncomfortable. For some reason, even on YouTube, because I watch a lot of MBTI related videos, follow people who are like, oh, I'm an INTJ, I talk about this. I'm an INFJ, I talk about this. I'm an ESFJ, I'm talk about this. And so I try to also analyze the way they do wear, and I see a lot of resemblance in terms of the men INFJs. They have this softness, warm, cuddly, approachable vibe about their dressing sense. Like they are dressed to look good for you and not make you feel uncomfortable. Can be very meticulous as well. I know very OCD behavior that INFJ men have, and maybe even worse than the women. Anyways, and then for the women, the girls, the lady INFJs. I have a couple, but I'm just going to mention Teal Swan and Emily Blunt. So Teal Swan is somebody that I only follow pretty much recently, about last year, because she's very much into spirituality. She talks a lot about energy, manifestation. I am very into the topic and I found her style extremely alluring. There's a difference between like femme fatale seductive, where you know this is dangerous, and then the other kind that like looks very goddessy, like divine femininity, and then it's alluring, like it's seductive, but not like in your face like seduction. It's not on the dark side, it's on the light side, which is why I use this word optimistic around them. They have a lot of light in their dressing, almost like a goddess. And that's reflected in Teal Swan's dressing in all her videos. At least I've not met her in person, I don't know. but she does wear a lot of dresses, a lot of drapes, some prints, a bit more grounded and very much in touch with her femininity for sure. And then I have Emily Blunt. Her personality, I am very drawn to the way she speaks, but her dressing style, very ladylike. I know that for celebrities, it can be a little bit difficult to analyze their dressing because they are dressed by stylists sometimes. But I think she looks best and the way she behaves and everything. I look through all the videos when she attends events and stuff like that. It appears that whenever she's in this wrapped up, draped, more feminine, ladylike kind of dresses and styling, it does really exude who she is, like her traits. It makes her look more confident in other styles that are quite unusual on her for sure. So that's the side of her that I think links well with the fact that she was typed as a INFJ. So what do I think of INFJ in terms of the women's style? It's pretty inspiring because if you look at today's world where everybody is like going into this unisex dressing, which is not wrong. I love combining masculine and feminine pieces. Sometimes, once in a while, all of us women out there need to remind ourselves our roots, our tradition, where we came from. So I think INFJs and, of course, ISFJs are there to remind us of that classic divine femininity that we should always have on our end. I think in today's world, we try to show too much of our masculinity, trying to control, trying to have a lot of results. And with this kind of traits, you put your femininity into the shadow, which or softness into the shadow. We have our heart and our soft side, anyways. And so it's good to have people who are dressed genuinely in this manner to bring back that softness that still looks very chic, very stylish. Not my first preference, of course. There's a reason why I dress the way I dress, why I strategize it that way. It's just that for INFJs, I think once in a while, trying to adopt it on certain function and knowing what kind of image goal you're trying to achieve is going to be very useful. Anyways, guys, I hope you found this video useful. Please share and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.